Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabite. Action.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Victoria. Tundu MKO Abiola.
Morning, Mr. Penny.
Pinkish and sweet.
No, she told me that this is not pink.
It's pink. They are all shades of pink.
You can't fool him. Nice try.
Pinky and the brain.
What are we going to do tonight, Brain?
Take over the world.
Ruben and Tundu Rufai, I enjoyed thoroughly the interview with Professor Boniface Oye Adeniro, but I was also aghast that there can be so much rot in the university system. Yet we have a union, the academic staff union, that is so vociferous about issues of funding and about government. Because if you are not prudent in the little you have been given, if you are not accountable in the little you have been given to run the system, or what you are generating in the system, how will you handle the more funding you have been asking for? If you don't keep watch over the little you have as a union, how do you keep watch over the huge funds when the federal government agrees to implement the issue of more funding for federal universities? I think it's a question ASU should go and think about. But let's start today's review of newspapers with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Army Chief to War Commanders, I won't accept any more excuses over attacks. Says officers must take initiative, decisive action to defeat threats. Maintains failure is failure, irrespective of the circumstance. Yes, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, yesterday read the Riot Act to the war commanders on terrorism ravaged parts of the country, saying he will no longer accept excuses for non-performance in the prosecution of the war against insurgency and armed banditry. Yes, the president calls the service chiefs, give them marching order now. The service chief is giving his commanders his own marching order. But yes, irrespective of the circumstance, you must defeat these bandits. But there are circumstances under which they operate, which may even make them vulnerable, as we'll see in the course of this review. Now, the Punch newspaper, military onslaught in Zamfara. Dislodged bandits flee southwards. Gunmen strike in Kogi, Kaduna, Ekiti. We got intelligence reports that bandits were coming to Ondo Forest. Amoteku Corps commander. Terrorists invade Kogi prison, free 240 prisoners, kill 2 soldiers. Gunmen abduct 4 Ekiti travelers. Yes, this in itself is another sad story, that these bandits being dislodged elsewhere are finding shelter or moving elsewhere. But you expect that it should be a no-brainer, that when you are dislodging bandits, other areas should be prepared with security beefed up to ensure that they don't go and regroup elsewhere. So if that is not being done right now, I think it should be part of what the Chief of Army Staff is also giving orders on, because they can escape to other areas. But more worrisome, if we look at the Daily Trust newspaper, how communications failure caused deadly attacks on troops in Zamfara. Bandits kill 9 Navy, soldier, 2 policemen. Telecom suspension costly, has no NSA clearance. Source. Criminals bypass communication ban. Army chief to commanders. I won't take any excuse from you again. But if you won't take any excuse, then you will address a number of issues concerning communication. Because according to this report, the According to this report, a credible security source told Daily Trust that bandits took advantage of the lack of security communication gadgets and laid siege on troops at Matumbi, while the jamming of GSM in Zamfara has gone a long way in taming the bandits. It also has a negative effect on troops because communication among them was also extremely restricted. And you expect that the report goes further. Most of the foot soldiers relied on normal phone network instead of any of the specialized communication gadgets that should be deployed during operations such as the one going on in the Northeast. Only the top commanders have military radio or walkie-talkie, meaning those in the front line would only use their personal mobile phones, which are no longer accessible. So if the army chief is saying failure is failure, no excuse will be accepted, have you provided all that is needed to fight banditry, terrorism to its standstill? And this is a case. So the army chief should address those issues. Communication failure being the cause of a deadly attack that claimed the lives of 12 servicemen. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, federal government seeks Interpol help as 250 escape in Kogi jailbreak. We are putting Interpol on notice with their details in case any of them attempt fleeing our shores. Interior Ministry, gunmen attack Kaaba prison, kill soldier, policemen, injure prisons personnel, free 240 inmates, 2 prison officers missing. Will unmask those behind the attack soon. Kogi government. Security forces on trail of perpetrators, inmates. Aregbeshola, security report warned of looming coordinated attacks in Kogi sources. What did they do with that report? If security report was already indicating that something like that was going to happen. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Nigerians lose 300 billion naira to Ponzi scheme, speculative trade. 2 commit suicide as operators tax federal government on national development. Any unregistered investment scheme is illegal, says SEC. Founders on the run as EFCC arrests 10 operators. Experts list measures to safeguard Nigerians against falling victims. Now, the first paragraph of this story reads thus: rising inflation, perceived poor performance of the capital market, as well as low returns on government securities have exposed Nigerians to speculative and dubious schemes, with victims suffering over 300 billion naira in the last 5 years. Of course, the solution, perhaps, is to put the economy in good shape. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, despite heavy winds, insurance premium may hit 1 trillion in 2021. Yes, some good news from this part of the economy. Despite the challenges of low penetration, education, and awareness of insurance among Nigerians, insurance market is gradually experiencing a boom as operators are declaring massive premium income in their financials. Now, the foreign newspapers, quickly. The Times of London. Over 50s to receive booster jab for winter. Children aged 12 to 15 will be offered first dose. Yes, most adults will be offered a COVID booster jab in the coming months, and children over 12 can receive a first dose as Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, seeks to protect Britain against a prolonged and unpredictable winter. Yes, 33 million adults will be offered the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, and that will be taken 6 months after the second dose. And children will also be offered. If you have the vaccine, you give to your citizens. despite the plea by some that instead of giving booster dose, send those jabs to poor countries who cannot buy enough. But the prime minister has to do what he has to do for the citizens. Now, the Washington Post newspaper, top 1% targeted in new tax plan. Democrats seeks to fund Biden budget. More than $2 trillion new revenue proposed. Of course, senior House Democrats are putting forward this legislation, unveiling how they will fund Biden's budget. Tax the top 1%. Those who are the top corporates and individuals within that bracket. Ruben, Rufai, and Tuna.
Well, just before we make comments on some of the stories, let's take a short break, and then we'll return, and Emmanuel Efeni will still be here. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni is still here with stories, top stories in newspapers from around the world. Emmanuel Efeni, back to you.
Yes, I just go back to some Nigerian newspapers and get some other stories making the headline.
You are not comfortable with the word local.
No. Nigerian newspapers.
Yes.
There's nothing local about the newspaper. Now, the Guardian newspaper, yes, below the photograph. Southeast residents defy governors, observe sit at home. Now, the Monday sit at home declared by IPOB, still causing a lot of row in the Southeast. Sit at home continues today to commemorate Nnamdi Holmes' invasion. Now, they are adding Tuesday for this week because it coincides with the anniversary of that invasion of Nnamdi Kanu's home. Gunmen invade Imo School, chase away students writing WAEC exams. Obiano leads protests against IPOB, visit markets, bank. This is where I don't get it. What kind of, I hope those are not IPOB members, because if IPOB claim they are fighting for their people, and you are chasing children who are writing WAEC out of their classes.
So shocking.
So what do you intend to achieve by that? Have they now adopted the philosophy of Boko Haram, no to Western education? Because if they are chasing children out of their exams hall, and this is not school exam, it's a national exam. So what happens to those students? Somebody should call these young men to order because they seem to be getting out of hand. Yes, you want to cripple businesses, perhaps those who choose to sit at home. Yes, you say it's their right. If you want to sit at home, you sit at home. If you want to beg, but chasing students out of their classrooms, students writing exams, I think they have to do a rethink. If they are not the ones involved, then they should tell us those who are involved using the IPOB sit-at-home order as cover. We need to hear from that. Now, above the masthead of the Vanguard newspaper, VAT, yes, update on the VAT. Presidency Force Wike denies shortchanging South for North. We've not heard the last of the VAT contest, which are now in the purview of the courts. Now, the appeal court has waded into that matter. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, I'll just take one more story there. Below the photograph, COVID-19 has come to stay. We must live with it. Federal government says vaccine delivery will hit 52 million doses by second quarter of 2022. Appeals to striking doctors to suspend action. Now, Ruben, you know some corporate organizations have given the matching order. Take the vaccine, or you stay at home and get half pay. I read a message circulated by one of the big banks yesterday, and that had been causing a number, some row, debates, that, people have right not to take so you can't, they're only exercising their right. And I'm saying, if you want to exercise your right to take the vaccine or not, and endanger other people's lives, then you should also exercise that right to choose between your job and the vaccine.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but Mr. Efeni, I think let's draw a note of caution.
Over to you.
Because a lot of companies are taking it out of hand. They are practically bullying their workers. I'm not saying don't take the vaccine, but not use it to penalize them. Encourage them to take it.
And when encouragement fails?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
the
then
truth
what
has to be
happens?
said, because I've seen companies that have started cutting pay, that have started sacking workers because of this, even before it starts. They're using this to victimize workers. That we should not support.
Are they, or are they safeguarding
Because
public health?
in the first place, Nigerian companies don't care.
Not
A lot of
What
them.
a statement to me.
No, in the first place.
What a statement to
In the
make.
first place.
Not that they care about the health of their
No,
workers.
Yes,
I'm not
it's
saying.
self-preservation.
I'm not saying the health of their workers or anything. They don't even care about the welfare. They don't even pay them well in the first place. There's a lot of workplace disaster going on.
There's that, but that's
And
separate.
That's
from
separate.
the
But in this case,
vaccine.
they are using it as a tool to hurt their workers even more. And I know what I'm
So
saying.
it's not a public health issue.
It's not a public health issue for them.
Well,
let's
It's
hear
just
from-
a
let's-
tool
I
to
don't
hurt
know.
workers even more.
Rufai,
And this is
let's
happening in
put it-
Edo State.
No, let's put it.
Let's hear from
let's
the
put this
Dr.
in
Abati.
context. Now, the company that you refer to, the document that I've seen that has been in circulation is a memo issued by GT Bank.
Correct.
And now, what was stated very clearly with regard to GT Bank is that in a particular branch, about 14 members of staff came down with COVID-19. And so, legitimately, the bank felt concerned to protect the staff and to also protect the customers that come to the bank. So the bank acted out of necessity to say, to protect yourself, to protect business, just take the vaccine. And this is the deadline. It's not as if the bank has already said, oh, if you don't take the vaccine, this is what we'll do. By a certain date in October, if you have not taken the vaccine, maybe you should just stay at home, in your own best interest and in the best interest of the business. So that's what has happened. And there's nothing really unusual in what GT Bank has opted to do. You recall that even the federal government, the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, had already served notice that it will get to a point where the Nigerian government, convinced that there is enough vaccines available to go around, will insist that public servants who have not taken the vaccine should please just stay at home. But that decision has not been taken yet. You also recall that in the United States, President Biden, twice now, has given, national broadcasts to say, look, federal civil servants, anybody who moves around on any federal land or anybody who uses public transportation, must not just wear the mask, they must also make sure that they take the vaccine. Even federal contractors, according to President Biden, must take the vaccine compulsorily. And all of this is in the context of the Delta variant, for which even Nigeria is not immune. So the basic interest that is involved, yes, it's fundamental human rights. I have a right, some people say I have a right to die if I choose to die. But what, those who insist on the vaccine mandate are saying is that, look, yes, you have a right to die, but you don't have the right to kill other people.
That is the
Yes,
bottom
which
line.
I support.
That
That's
is the
bottom
principle
line. It's a
which
public
I
health
support.
issue.
In many other countries, however, there is no regulation saying you must take the vaccine compulsorily. If you like, don't take it. But don't come into a space where you endanger other people. It's only a country like the United Kingdom that has now said that, okay, you can go to crowded places, bars and restaurants, we will not ask for vaccine passports. But a country like the UK has been able to do very significant level of immunization.
Yes.
They've gone from 16 years to the elderly. Now they want to do 12 years to 15.
They've done very well.
Now that schools will resume next week. And they're just waiting for the JCVI, the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Infections, to give approval, for booster shots, before December. So
No,
we don't have such.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson will unveil that.
Yeah.
Over 50s, 33 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We start
for me, it's,
getting
even
as early
it's
as
a
next week.
personal issue.
Yes, but they are
It's
still
a
waiting for
personal
the
issue.
approval.
I disappeared from here for 5 months, you will all recall,
Yeah.
because there was no vaccine. There's no way I'm getting COVID. The only way I'm comfortable sitting here with all you lovely gentlemen
And in
is
any
because
case-
we've all been jabbed. If
Yes.
not,
And
there's
in-
no way. So whose rights are you going to uphold?
And in any case, every company will make its own choice.
Yeah.
Because it's a business. If you are running a business, you have the right to say, okay, for this business, this is company policy.
Yes, of course
Even
you
the
do.
big multinationals, some of them are offering incentives, to your point.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All these
I still want to make that
Amazon,
point anyway.
Chase and all of those
Yeah.
companies, they say, okay, if you take the vaccine, we'll give you some incentives. So it's a question of choice in this
Yeah.
regard.
So the point I wanted to make is this. I want everybody to go take the vaccine, really, because we need to stop COVID once and for all and protect lives. But please, Nigerian companies are high-handed. Some Nigerian companies, don't let me make a fallacy of hasty
You are generalizing.
No, some Nigerian companies, I have nullified the fallacy of hasty generalization. Now they're using this COVID to be more high-handed, especially in the Edo State. And a lot of those companies are saying, based on the word of the governor, that it is mandatory, and they're doing all sorts to their members of staff. That's what I will not take. Everybody, please go out there and take it for your safety. Take the vaccine. I'm not part of the anti-vaxxer movement. I'm not part of those that don't believe. COVID is real. It kills. It's killed a lot of people close to me. And please, the jabs are there. Go take it.
That is
Flock
even
the place.
the interesting part, because if you go to any health center now,
Yeah.
it's readily available.
Please go take it.
We criticize government for not doing enough in getting this vaccine
But the
on this
vaccines
program.
are there. Go take it.
Waiting
But-
for free vaccine. Now they spend money
But-
and it is available,
but please.
and people are not going to take it.
But please,
I mean,
companies
what the heck?
should not use COVID vaccine to start the segregation again. That some people that are higher up in the company can work from home. Those that are foot soldiers in the company, they must take the vaccine because they must come to the office. If you are making laws, it should be across board.
Anyway, it's okay. It's a continuing conversation, and there's no standard for companies until perhaps the Nigerian government says this is where we stand in this.
No, but companies can make their own rules.
Yes, that is true. It's free enterprise. Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel Efene. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.